Hello, guys. Welcome to another exciting episode on Pious Football, where I bring you the latest in transfer news. We do a tactical analysis of games and also talk about pertinent issues around football that you don't hear on mainstream European media. Now, it's been a while. We went for a little break. Players went away on international duty with their various the national teams playing qualifiers for. Some are playing for the World Cup qualifiers. Some are playing for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Others are playing for the European. Tournament coming off next year in the summer. So we had to take a break, but we are back, and exciting games happened throughout this weekend. But before I start talking about the games, in retrospect, I would like to look at one or two stories that made the rounds, that are also related to football, but are not exactly post-match analysis, but rather ugly scenes at the home grounds of FC Getafe. Remember, Getafe signed Mason Greenwood on deadline day. Much to the surprise of many people, a lot of people thought that he wasn't going to get any run, as teams were shying away from signing him due to the problems that he had with, his current girlfriend, rape allegations leveled against him, and all that. And people shied away because they felt that Greenwood was going to bring bad publicity to their club. And that is exactly what happened when Greenwood made his debut against Osasuna yesterday. It was quite disappointing for the Osasuna fans to see them chanting, attacking Mason Greenwood and chanting "Greenwood die, Greenwood die, Greenwood die." It was really bad. I'm hearing that the Spanish FA are looking into it after the match officials who also heard the chants, the ugly chants, actually put in a report in their match, put the incident in their match report to the Spanish FA. So it is likely that the Osasuna fans are going to be charged. Probably they are going to be banned in some games, home games, and then probably some financial, punishments will actually follow as well. I mean, a lot of people suspected that fans of rival teams would actually try and take a hit on Mason Greenwood, but I'm not really surprised. Spain has been a place where some very ugly incidents have happened with in relation to the fans. I mean, remember when a game against Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid fans, the ultras of Atletico Madrid fans, hanged a black effigy of Vinicius Junior in a sort of racist taunt against the player. I don't know what they think these things actually accomplish, but I think it is time that the Spanish FA actually take fan indiscipline very serious and actually try and nip this problem in the bud. But overall, Mason Greenwood had a positive impact on the game. He came on when the game was 2-2, I think. And then his move actually led to a corner. That corner actually led to the winner that was scored. So the Getafe won 3-2 against Osasuna at home. So hopefully Mason Greenwood can get a full debut where he can start hopefully in their next game. And then also just to lighten up the mood a bit of a funny side. This incident happened in Portugal, where a fan on Twitter challenged João Felix that, hey, if you score a goal on your debut for Barcelona this weekend, I'm going to go naked. And so Felix saw it, and then he liked the comment on Twitter, and he said, okay, challenge accepted. I hope you would live up to your end of the deal. Now, Barcelona trashed Real Betis 5-0 this on Saturday evening. Wonderful, wonderful performance from João Felix. He showed the quality that he has, and it kind of sends a message to Diego Simeone that hey, the guy still has it, and so you better find a way of using him. But I think that the history with Atletico Madrid and João Felix is over. Hopefully, Barcelona can put up some funds and then sign him on a permanent transfer because he looks really good in that Barcelona jersey, playing from the left wing. He was super fantastic, and I'm really happy for him. He scored a goal on his debut. Yao Cancelo also scored on his debut, and they ran riot against Real Betis side that are actually a very good side. So it shows the quality of Barcelona. But the story here is that the fan who promised to run naked in Portugal actually did run naked. I mean, he posted a video of him running naked in Lisbon. There is this famous runabout, an icon in Lisbon called the Marquês de Pomba runabout. The Marquês de Pomba runabout. He posted a video on Twitter of him naked running around, kind of fulfilling the end of his bargain. And Felix actually appreciated the effort and actually reposted the video of the naked man running in Lisbon. So I mean, that was kind of the funny side to the weekend game involving Barcelona and Real Betis. And in that game, actually, Gavi ran the show. Although he wasn't involved in any of the goals, he ran the show from the start. It shows the quality that he has and his natural position in that midfield. Remember that they've been using him in the left wing, but it's not his natural position. Gavi is actually very good playing as a central midfielder, and he did very well. He ran the show alongside Oriol Romeo and Frankie De Jong. They were really good on Saturday evening. So I mean, and if you look at the fact that Gundogan is there, and they also have Pedri, about to return from injury, hopefully in about less than a month's time, it shows the quality that Barcelona have in that midfield, and it can only be good from this moment onwards. Xavi doing really well with the limited budget that he has at his disposal. Very smart deals. I spoke about this in my panel discussion that I held on Friday. That Barcelona only signed Aurelio Romeo for 3.4 million euros. The rest of the money, the rest of the deals are loan deals and free deals, freebies. And so I mean, if you look at what they've done with the players that they've got, I mean, it's only you can only pat Xavi on the back and wish them all the best for the rest of the season. Now, also, I think I want to talk about Ferran Torres. Yeah, he scored a free kick goal. I think that in my analysis during the transfer window, I said that Ferran Torres was trying to stay, although Xavi wanted him out. But he stayed, he didn't move, and he scored a free kick. I think that is the first free kick that any Barcelona player has scored since Lionel Messi left in 2021. So I mean, good move for good vibes for Ferran Torres. Hopefully he can keep going. Also, Real Madrid came back from a goal down just this evening to beat Real Sociedad 2-1. Sociedad scored first. Takefusa Kubo scored a goal for Sociedad, but it was disallowed by VAR. And then Valverde and Joselu actually rescued Real Madrid again. Another tight win for the Los Blancos. Now they have a record 5 wins in out of 5 for the La Liga season. So they look really good. Although the wins are a bit scrappy. The poor stats that Real Madrid actually has this season. They've started very poorly, since their first game. From the start, they concede and then they have to come back. So it's becoming a habit that they don't want to repeat, because sometimes you can't always come back from games. So I think that Real Madrid need to watch how they start their games and kind of try and keep a clean sheet. And also Joselu is fast becoming very important for Real Madrid. Remember, I said that with Karim Benzema leaving the team, he's the only natural number 9 in the team. So I mean, Carlo Ancelotti would do well to start him in some of the games, and he's done that. He's playing a midfield diamond with Chouameni sitting back as the low line defensive midfielder, with Tony Cruz and Valverde on the side of the diamond, and then Bellingham as the arrowhead of the diamond midfield. And then he's playing Rodrigo and Joselu as the two attackers, and playing them as strikers. And it seems to be working so far. Vinicius is still out injured, so obviously Joselu is going to start, and he's doing really well. So it shows that Joselu is going to be a very important player for Real Madrid this season. So let's see what happens. Also, I think that yeah, the midfield diamond that I said is actually a smart move by Carlo Ancelotti to try and accommodate the new players, new midfield that they are trying to build, the young midfield of Kamavinga, Chouameni, and then also Valverde. Mind you, they have Luka Modric and Tony Cruz out there, so it's kind of rotating those six midfielders around a midfield diamond of four, which is smart. I mean, you will be able to save a lot of time and then energy, and then maybe in the European games you can bring in Luka Modric to start. Hopefully, I mean, because of his experience. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Now in the EPL, massive games came up. Manchester City won 3-1 against West Ham. They are looking like champions. Manchester City, they are the only team that has recorded I think 5 wins out of 5 right now. They came back from a goal down to win 3-1. But the talking point for me in that game is Jeremy Doku. Jeremy Doku is the name that I want to mention, and the talking point is that Jeremy Doku is going to be a world beater. He's going to actually excel at Man City. Like I said in my previous discussions on Friday evening, on my panel discussion on Pious Football, Jeremy Doku is someone I didn't really expect that Man City would sign him. Not that because he's not good, but because it doesn't really fit the profile of Pep Guardiola. However, panelists drew my attention to the fact that he has similar qualities to Riyad Mahrez, which was quite interesting. And then he made his analysis, and it was convincing enough, and it shows why Guardiola went for Jeremy Doku, because of his unpredictability in front of in the opponent's box. And I mean, it showed, in the game against West Ham. He tormented the right back consistently, and the boy can play from the left wing and the right wing. He can play both with both feet, very good with both feet. So he's very kind of important for Guardiola's new system, where you are playing against a team that are sitting back. You need a winger that can be very unpredictable, because that puts the defenders on the back foot. And once you have the defenders on the back foot, it means that you are halfway through, getting your way around them, putting in quality crosses, or even getting in and cutting in, and then trying to score from the wing. So, and that is exactly what he did. I think he came back in the second half, and then he scored a goal in the second half, to level the points before goals coming in from Bernardo Silva and Haaland sealed the deal for Manchester City. So for me, I think that Jeremy Doku is going to be a very important player for Man City this season, and he's probably going to be the reason why they are probably going to win another Premier League title. It's going to be easy for them to win another Premier League title because of him, because I mean, right now I think Jack Grealish is out injured, but they are not feeling the pressure. He's only going to become good. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne said that Jeremy Doku is a raw talent, and so I mean he has the world at his feet. He has massive space to improve, and imagine Doku improving at the current rate is going to be really massive for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Remember that Guardiola also returned to the touchline after going through a waist surgery. So, I mean, all good vibes for Manchester City right there. And I think that they are still going to be the favourites to win the Premier League this season. Now, Tottenham Hotspur, another impressive team. They started so well. They won on Saturday against Sheffield United 2-1. It was kind of a difficult game, end-to-end stuff. Sheffield United, remember, are promoted to the Premier League after several years. They didn't disappoint. They really kind of put in a fight. But Postitoglu And Postitoglu's men were really good on the day as usual, playing the inverted fullbacks in that midfield overload, trying to put pressure on the opponent. And then the talking point for me in this Tottenham Sheffield United game is the fact that Richarlison scored a goal. I mean, the captain of Tottenham Hotspur, Son, made that remark that he's really happy that Richarlison has finally scored a goal, that he really deserves it. The guy has been through a bit of some emotional turmoil. He went on international duty for Brazil, played 2 games, never scored. And you could see in the game against, I think, Peru, the second game that they played away to Peru. I mean, he cast a really frustrated figure sitting on the bench after he was substituted. He missed several chances. I mean, it really affected him. He's had a really bad run, prior to the World Cup, throughout the World Cup, and after the World Cup. So I mean, it's good that he's had a good. He said that he was going to see a psychologist after the game against Peru in Brazil. He said he was going to see a psychologist to try and get his mind right. And I'm hopeful that he will come good. I mean, he's not really a prolific striker, but in a Tottenham team that are playing really attacking football, you should try and get in some goals. So I'm hoping that Richarlison will get back to his best, and then try and help Tottenham get into the top four, because that is what it looks like they are trying to do, and it's working so far. And then I like to talk about Liverpool. I watched that game. 90 minutes of football. They had a very disastrous first half, I might say. I expressed my opinion on Facebook about that. But they came back. They really strong. Immediately they came back. They started putting in the goals, and they won 3-1 against a very stubborn Wolves side. Um, the talking point from the Liverpool game is basically that I think that they are not league contenders. They still look a bit shaky in midfield. Their defense is not really so strong. They can, this Liverpool team can concede goals. And then Van Dijk, still hasn't found his best form yet. And then he has to, come back from a red card he, got, So I think that Liverpool are a good side. They have the players to get into the top four, but I don't see them challenging for the Premier League. But I think that the target this season will probably be to get back into the top four, and then probably win a domestic cup and the Europa League. I think that will be a successful season for Liverpool. So for so far so good, they're on the right track. Let's see what happens. Arsenal, just this afternoon, they beat Everton 1-0. Very difficult game for Arsenal. Goodison Park has always been a very difficult place for Arsenal. They actually, this is the first time they are winning a game at the Goodison Park in, I think, 6 years. The last time they won a game at Goodison was in 2017. I think the winner was scored by Mesut Ozil, scored the winner on that day. And so, I mean, it's good for Mikel Arteta. His side are doing really well. They are trying to keep the ante on Man City to stay in the title race. It's very important that they keep winning to keep the close points, close marking against Manchester City, because I mean, City are definitely not in the mood for losing right now. So Arsenal has to keep winning game by game, and they are doing really well. They played really well today. So I'm happy for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. Mind you, they have a game against Tottenham Hotspur, the London Derby, coming up next weekend on Sunday. So I mean, it's going to be a massive game. So it's good that both teams have won. So I mean, you can't miss that game. It's going to be massive, and let's see what happens next week on Sunday. And then also the disappointing bit, if you're a Manchester United fan, I know the Liverpool fans, the Chelsea fans, the Arsenal fans, they are having a fun time this weekend because of the results that Manchester United had. We lost 3-1 to a very good Brighton side, decent Brighton side. They are not world-class players in my book, but they played like a world-class team. I think I stopped watching the game somewhere around the 54th minute, because not because we were conceding, but because I felt that we couldn't come back. It was a game that you realize we couldn't come back. Brighton were so good with the ball. Like, you felt that, they just took the air out of Old Trafford. They could sense that United wanted to come back, and they kept the ball. They just kept passing the ball around, passing the ball around, and the team Manchester United had no answers. They just couldn't, take the ball from them, and so I just had to get up and stop watching, because I knew we couldn't make a comeback. I mean, if after we scored in the 71st minute, I still knew that nothing would happen. And nothing did happen. They kept the ball, they controlled the game. It was a kind of game where even if it kept going on for an extra 2 hours, we couldn't win the game. Brighton beat us fair and square. We were beaten by a better team on the day. And then superior tactics were deployed by Roberto De Zerbi, who has done really well, I must say, since coming into the Premier League last year. I mean, he's had fantastic record against the top four teams, the so-called top four teams. And even against Manchester United, the aggregate now is about 10-3. He's won, he's scored 10 goals as against United, scoring just a paltry 3 goals. So it shows tactical superiority, if you ask me. I mean, he keeps beating Ten Hag. Last season, he beat Ten Hag, I think, home and away or something. I think we drew our return leg at the at the home of Brighton. So I mean, it was a kind of game where there are five things I want to talk about. In this game, five things. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that, disappointingly, unfortunately, our 22 home unbeaten run comes to an end. Since Ten Hag came, he had fantastic home record. We had not lost at home for 22 games. That run comes to an end finally by, ended by Brighton. And then the second thing I want to talk about is the tactical side of Eric Ten Hag. What really is happening? Why are we seeing what we are seeing? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that, let me take you back to Ten Hag's system at Ajax. What he loves to play is a 4-2-3-1. A 4-2-3-1 in a sense that he will try and overload the opponent's attacking area with 6 players. Now, how does that happen? He plays a back three when the team is moving forward. Now, one of the right backs will join the center backs, okay, in a back three. And then he has one pivot midfielder, just one in that midfield. And all the balls go through him. And he's supposed to be a kind of player who is very good on the ball, has close control, is able to make long, good distributions, short, good distributions. So he's some sort of a sweeper midfielder, okay? And at Ajax, he used Frankie de Jong for that, for that purpose. And that is why when he came to Manchester United, he was so obsessed about getting Frankie de Jong, but the player was just not interested in moving to Old Trafford. So instead of Frankie de Jong, he brought in Casemiro. Now, it seemed to have worked in the first season because at the time he had Fred by his side, and there was a sort of telepathic understanding between Casemiro and Fred because of their Brazilian connection. They play, both of them play together in the national team. Okay, so it sort of compensated for the fact that Casemiro, although he is a world-class midfielder, is not that kind of player who is able to pass the ball so well. I mean, his long distributions are good, but they are not that good. His short distributions are good, but they are not that good. And his pace is not as much as you would comparing him to Frankie de Jong. Different players, different ages. His pace is not as strong, is not as high as Frankie de Jong's. And then his passing in close control, short passing abilities under close tight spaces is not as good as Frankie de Jong's. So the problem is that he's not getting the delivery that he wants this season, because number one, there is no Fred, and he knew there wouldn't be any Fred. He sold Fred, and that is why he was so obsessed about bringing in Messi Mount. Messi Mount is supposed to be that player who would go ahead of him, I mean Casemiro, and make sure that that short distributions that he is, not really able to do, Mason Mount will come in and do those short distributions. When there is supposed to be a long distribution of balls, he can do that. Casemiro can do that. Then Mason Mount will run into space and overload that opponent box. So you have six attackers. You have one inverted fullback in the form of Luke Shaw moving close to the opponent's area. Rashford is there, Messi Mount is there, Bruno Fernandes is there, Rasmus Højlund will be there, and then we have Anthony also there. So we have six attackers in the opponent box. That is an overload, and the opponent will definitely make mistakes. When they have the ball, high pressing, immediately we get the ball back, and that has been the system that Ten Hag has deployed at Ajax to his, to perfect ability, but he's struggling to, emulate that same style at Old Trafford, and that is the cause of all our problems. The system is not working because some of the players are not, fitting the bill. They are not really playing according to how Ten Hag wants the team to play. Plus, no, that is the first thing. The fact that he wants to play a 3-1-6 when he's attacking, but it's not really working for him well in the Premier League. He seems to expose then that is why Casemiro seems to be exposed in midfield, and that is the problem. But that system is supposed to work when Messi Mount counterpart in that midfield is supposed to run back and help. If you look at the first goal we considered against Brighton, when we played Brighton, the first goal we considered, a quick ball, they played 1-2, they beat our high press. They played 1-2-3 transitions, they were in our at the wings, they crossed, made a low cross. Now Casemiro had moved ahead to cover, one of the, I think the striker, Lisandro Martinez had moved further to try and block the shot, which was not going to be possible. And then there was a space left just behind Casemiro. That space was supposed to have been covered by Scott McTominay, but he failed to do that, and that led to us conceding a first goal very quickly. It was actually a very fast-paced, fast transition, good ball distribution by Brighton to expose that sort of weakness. And so that has been the problem. That is the tactical side of things that is causing a headache for Erik Ten Hag at this moment in time. And he said that we have to stay true to the principles, which means that he's not going to back down on trying to use that 3-1-6 formation when he's going forward. He's not going to back down. So it means that the players will have to try and get used to the system as fast as possible. He didn't really use it so well last season, so it is this season that he wants to try and use it well. So the players will have to get on board and get used to that system very fast, because we have tough games coming up. We are going to play Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. It couldn't get more bad than this, and everyone is predicting a lose for Manchester United. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose that game, the way things are going now. But I think that the way we played in the first 20 minutes of the first half was really encouraging. If we can stick to the principles like Erik Ten Hag said, and kind of be a bit more energetic in trying to do the high press, trying to run back and counter press when we are we lose the ball, and try to recover when we are under attack from a counter attack, I think that will be good. But at this moment, things are not looking good for Manchester United. Another thing that I want to, one of the 5 reasons I want to discuss is also, I think we have injuries to contend with. Messi Mount is injured. He was a key part of the whole system. Although when he was playing, he was struggling with form. But hopefully when he comes back, he will be good. Amrabat was signed on deadline day to try and complement that issue with Scott McTominay that I was mentioning. If Amrabat was there, that issue with Scott McTominay not running back so early would have been solved, and so hopefully Amrabat will come back, and then maybe we can get a bit more of steel in that midfield to complement Casemiro when he's has to do the distribution. And then I think that what people are saying, that I honestly don't see it that way, but once it's a talking point, I want to highlight it and say that Gary Neville is number one, who is kind of championing this thought pattern that the Glazers, the uncertainties surrounding the seal of the club is currently also affecting team performance. Now, he makes the case that when you have uncertainty at the top, it trickles down to the pitch, and the manager is not sure what the future holds. The players are not really sure what's going on. That it kind of sends negative vibes to the club. Mind you, the club is already saddled with negative news about Anthony and Jadon Sancho. We've discussed all of these issues. I don't know. I don't need to go back into to the details of those issues. So I mean, all these things, coupled with the tactical difficulty with players adjusting to the Ten Hag system is the reason why we are where we are now, and that is just what it is. So let's hope for the best. That is all I can say about Manchester United. Now, PSG lost, surprisingly. They lost at home to Nice. They lost at home to Nice. It was a good game by Nice. They played really well, and I think that the coach Luis Enrique did well commending Nice. I watched a few minutes of that game in the second half. They were so good. They knew how to hold their own, and then just make quick transitions on the counter attack, and they destroyed PSG. Mind you, that Marquinhos is out injured, so I mean it exposed their backline. Sergio Ramos is no longer there. The new signing from Italy, from Inter Milan, I think what's his name? The defender from Inter Milan they bought. Oh my goodness, forgive me for that. He was there, he started, but he's still kind of struggling to find his feet. But he will be good. He will be good. I think the problem with PSG right now is that their midfield they need time to adjust. Mind you, they have a very young midfield. After Marco Verratti, they surprisingly let Marco Verratti go to I think Qatar, right? He signed for a Qatari club over the summer. And it's quite shocking that no other team in Europe was interested in signing Marco Verratti. But no more Marco Verratti in that midfield. Now they brought in the Sporting Lisbon defensive midfielder Manuel Ugarte, who was signed in the summer. Now they have this young wonder kid from the academy, Warren Zaire Emery. Warren Zaire Emery is going to be a star. He's so good. I mean, he's really, really good, that kid. And they believe in him. They believe that he's going to be a world beater. He's going to be a world-class player. And so they are kind of playing a midfield three of him, the Warren Zaire Emery, Manuel Ugarte, and Vitinha. They signed Vitinha from Porto over the summer. And they are all three new players who are getting to know each other. So it's going to be a bit difficult for them to, play so well from the start. But it's going to take time. So that is one of the issues that, you want to highlight as the reasons why they lost against Nice at home. Another reason is that, if you look at their attack, they started the Portuguese striker Goncalo Ramos, who was brought in from Benfica for 80 million euros. And they played, I think, Dembele on the right wing, and then, of course, Kylian Mbappe on the left wing, which was okay, but I think Ramos struggled, and then he was substituted, and he brought on what is his name? Kolomwani from he was signed on deadline day from Frankfurt for 95 million euros. The big bucks, the guy the guy who came in for the big bucks. I think that the problem with PSG right now is that the front three will need time to adjust. I mean, previously they had the Real Madrid is Marco Asensio playing from the right wing. and then Mbappe playing from the left wing. But right now they are trying to shuffle their cards. They are trying to shuffle the cards. The problem with PSG is that they have six forward players that they need to choose from in every game. Okay, so I think that the coach Luis Enrique needs to find his favorite front three, and I think that favorite front three will be the front three of the French national team, which is Mbappe on the left wing, Koulibaly through the middle, and then Ousmane Dembele from the right wing. Okay, so I think that would be their first choice front three. But you just bought an 80 million euro striker who is going to be on the bench, so it's kind of a pressure, putting pressure on Luis Enrique to try and play the Portuguese striker. And then you have Marco Asensio, and also there to trying to get in some starting positions in there. So overall, it's going to be quite difficult for Luis Enrique to choose his front three. Try and get a front three that will have that telepathy. But I think that the front three that I mentioned earlier, Mbappe, Kolomwani, and Dembele, are going to be the number one front three for PSG. And I think that they already have some sort of telepathy between them from the national side. So hopefully they can transform that sort of telepathy to PSG, and they will come good with time. And I think that they are actually a team that you need to watch out for in the Champions League. Many people don't fancy them, but I think that if that midfield pick up pace and the front three actually get their telepathy on in sync with each other, and Marquinhos returns from injury. Mind you, Mendes, the left back, was also injured. If he comes back, I think that PSG will be a team to watch this season. And then another good news is that the French the French left back Benjamin Mendy. Remember, he had atrocious, 2 years in England, where he had to be going to court defending himself against a crime he did not commit. Women lying against him, trying to, make some money off him. His career and his reputation in the mud because of false accusations of rape. Finally, he signed for Lorient in the French league. I mean, he played his first game after 2 years. He played his first game. I think they drew 2-2 at home, or I think was it away. They drew 2-2. He came on in the second half to contribute. Hopefully, he can start playing games, and then maybe, hopefully, he can get a national call up. I don't know if it's going to happen. Looking at the form of Lucas Hernandez, I think. Theo Hernandez from AC Milan is really on fantastic form, and then I think Kamavinga also plays from that left flank and the left wing as a left back. When he's going to the national team, he plays as a left back. So he might be difficult for Benjamin Mendy to get back into the national team, but I think that for now we can be happy with the fact that he's back from a long break, 2-year break, and he's actually playing good football once again. So I'm happy for Benjamin Mendy here on Pious Football. We wish him all the best. And also in the Italian Serie A, I think let me just go through it very fast. Inter Milan won 5-1 against AC Milan. Surprisingly, shocking results. They trashed AC Milan. The midfield of AC Milan were non-existent. We were discussing this on the panel discussion on Pious Football on Friday night. That AC Milan's midfield really looked good. Unfortunately, on that day, I think on Saturday they failed to turn up. They ran riot. Inter Milan ran riot. Nicolo Barella and surprisingly, Henrik Mkhitaryan in that midfield, playing as an attacking midfielder, scored a brace in that game. He completely dominated the AC Milan midfield. And then also, big ups to Marcus Thuram. Marcus Thuram is also doing really well. He's settling in the Serie A very nicely. He scored a fantastic screamer from the left wing after a long pass from Dumfries, beautiful pass from Dumfries. So I mean, AC Milan, Inter Milan are doing really well, and I think I want to commend Simeone Inzaghi. I mean, he was in the final of the Champions League last season. Many people thought it was a fluke, but it shows the quality of the manager. It means that he's really good. and it looks like he's going to be favorites to win the Italian Serie A, and I will not be surprised if they do well in Europe this season as well. So big ups to in Simeone Inzaghi and Inter Milan, and also Roma. Also after two defeats, they win their first game of the Serie A this season. Mourinho's team trashed. Newcomers Empoli 7-0. Romelu Lukaku getting his first goal for Roma. And then Paulo Dybala returns from injury and scores a brace. So good news for Roma. They are doing really well. They'll be playing in the Europa League on Thursday. So, I mean, it's all good for the Roma team. Hopefully, they can, this will give them a springboard to get better results as, time goes on. Also, then finally, for today, Juventus won 3-1 against a very good Lazio side. So, I mean, it shows that, Juventus are finally about to start winning games. Because if you beat Lazio 3-1, it means that you are really good, because Lazio are really playing some good football this season. So I mean, yes, and the big talking point on this game is the fact that Federico Chiesa is back. He had a fantastic game. His form is slowly coming back. This player was one of the highly rated wingers in Europe 2 years ago, until he had a serious anterior cruciate ligament that took him out for almost 9 months. It was a slow process from recovery. He came back. The form wasn't there. He was struggling much of last season. But this season, I mean, he started well, and he scored his first goal in the Serie A this season. It was a beautiful goal. You could see his excitement, and I know that, going forward, he can only improve, and it's going to be good for the Italian national team. Remind you, they are struggling to qualify for the Euros. They played, I think they won 2-1 against, I think, North Macedonia in Italy. Goal scored by David Fratesi of Inter Milan, who also scored in the game, the Milan derby on Saturday. So the Italian national team is going to benefit from a very good informed Federico Chiesa. So now that's all for now. Thank you so much. I think I've gone through almost every game. I have dissected almost every bit of the weekend games for you here on Pious Football. Mind you, you need to subscribe to my channel if you like all the analysis I have made, and then you will get updates every time I upload. And try and like the video, and I want to see, most importantly, I want to see the comments. I want to see your comments. Let me hear what you think about the analysis and what I have talked about, and then we can move on from there. So thank you very much for staying with me once again. This is Pious Football. Bye.